Hi guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we'll be doing something very simple, basically comparing the two agentic agents that you have been using for the last two videos that I did. And for the last two videos that I did, I used Firebase AI Logic and Genkit that for building the separate projects, although they are tailored to the same kind of projects, but separate format and client and server basically. So today we are doing the comparison between the two, when to use Genkit and when to use Firebase AI Logic and so on and so forth. So that will be everything in this video. So by the way, if you are here to subscribe to this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and make sure to like this video. All right, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing, basically Genkit that versus Firebase AI Logic. So we just get straight into it. So what it actually is, Firebase AI Logic and Genkit that. And when we talk about Firebase AI Logic, actually the former name, it's Vectex AI in Firebase. So that was the initial launch name. So Firebase AI Logic, one thing, the two comparison basically is Firebase AI Logic is client side, where Genkit that is server side. That is in simpler language, you can call it front end and back end basically. So Firebase AI Logic is front end, Genkit that is back end. So full stack and front end majorly. So Firebase AI Logic, we have Flutter app stocks directly to Gemini models, app check plus authentication. The other Firebase services that you have, like authentication, Firestore and stuff like that. No raw API key in your code, perfect for quick, secure client-side AI. So Firebase AI Logic is perfect for quick. If you just want to do a prototype, that's when Firebase AI Logic is good for. So it is fast and quick, no need for storing AI in your code. And when it comes to Genkit that, as you can see, Google Full Stack AI Framework, that's Genkit that. So first of all, it's AI flow in pure that. So the same way, as you know, that is the programming language for Flutter. So we can write pure that for several that stuff aside Flutter itself. So when we are talking about backend or server side that, now we can write backend language, or we can write backend code with that, and that's what Genkit that give us the privilege. That is, we have the AI framework in full stack development. So AI flow in pure that is, we write everything purely in that. So client was the backend, tools, memory, agent, and all supported section basically. So the third point is section logic stays on the backend. So Genkit that is majorly for robust development. Firebase is just for simple prototype, and Genkit is for more robust project. So you see everything in the language you already love. That is, you already love Flutter and that. So it's basically just doing more advanced stuff with that. So one of the stuff is best for shipping a feature this week. That is just a prototype. You quickly want to prototype something, or you want to present something, then go for Firebase AI Logic. Begs for production grade AI that scales. So one thing you must keep in mind is that Firebase AI Logic is just for prototype, not it will be bad in production, or it will have cost effect. It won't be scalable in the long run in production. But with Genkit that, you can build production grade AI that scales. So that's pretty much it. So, but the two of them still use the same model under the hood. They both use Gemini under the hood, so they are still listening to Gemini AI agent, but the way they handle it is what differentiates the two. So that's just it. So the next thing I have here is the use cases. So we can go to the use cases side by side between these two solutions. So Firebase AI Logic shines when simple text or image generation, that is, you want to quickly prototype or release an MVP of a particular solution or whatsoever project you are building. That's when Firebase AI Logic shines. So multimodal screenshots to feedback, majorly error log, AI generated fixes and stuff like that. Quick check or summarization. Want to ship a feature this week, go for Firebase AI Logic. So that's pretty much on Firebase AI Logic. Strictly for prototyping, you want to quickly release something to the hood, that's you want to share it with some group of people and stuff like that. Use Firebase AI Logic when you are not doing like complex prototyping and stuff like that. Then go with Firebase AI Logic. But when it comes to Genkit now, we have two calling, that is Firestore, AMAs, and DB. We keep sensitive logic on the backend. So that's server what's it called, Genkit that. And if you go to the code base, this is the GitHub project of the project we work on. So we open it in VS Code mode so we can actually see it, because we use both Firebase and Genkit in this project. So just give it a few seconds. All right, so this is the project now. So I'll just close this. I'm waiting for the file to load so I can show you. So this is the content generator file for this is AI Logic. You can see how simple AI Logic is, that we are pretty done with it. Just this is the major function that is doing everything that we are doing for Firebase AI Logic. Just Firebase AI from the package, and we call directly. But for the backend solution, which is Genkit, that you can see the Genkit folder, going to the Genkit the bin, then my Genkit app. So we can see the configuration that you have to do here, and also how we protect our API key and doing some complex computation here. So that's pretty much it on that. So persistent memory across session, complex agentic workflow, that's for Genkit, that also control cost, prompts and data. So basically when we are building production grade application that is for real user, you have to put in consideration the control cost, because all these agents are tokenized. So if there's a lot of requests to them, then you are charged more. So they are pay as you go basically. So you have to also minimize how users actually like make requests to the AI agent, because every request is not supposed to is not supposed to fire the endpoint or fire the API to the AI agent and stuff like that. That's why we have persistent memory, so you can afford the data fetch and cache on your database, so you don't have to fetch everything all over again, which will cost more at the end. So that's pretty much on Genkit that. And a real example here, as you can see, so a real example, smart Flutter app can be built in both. So, but only Genkit lets the AI safely read the user subscription status from Firestore without exposing anything to the client. So, as you can see, this is a good use case. The two are not competing, by the way, but they have different use cases. As I mentioned earlier, Firebase, now if you want to build this example projects like smart Flutter app, we can use both, but trying to query Firestore with Firebase AI Logic might expose the AI key or the API key to the users or to the client side. So any middleman can easily gain access to your API key, whereas with Genkit we can safely secure it because we are building on the server side. So that is that on the use cases. So some pros and cons of Firebase AI Logic and Genkit, that, and we soon get to when to use Firebase AI Logic and also when to use Genkit that. So the pros for Firebase AI Logic: insanely fast setup. As you can see now, if you go to the documentation, you don't even need any setup as it may be. If you are building a project and you have already used Firebase, you have set up Firebase already, then you don't need any setup basically. All you just have to do is go to the Firebase project, go to Firebase AI Logic, then enable it, and that's all. Then just come to the code base and just call the package, the package majorly, and that's pretty much it. So the setup is pretty fast and just simple lines of code. This is just the lines of code, and you are done with integrating AI into your Flutter app. So great developer experience for simple prototypes as well. Built-in streaming out of the box, multimodal support from day one. So that is pretty much when it comes to Firebase AI. Again, it's just for fast prototype. So some of the cons or disadvantages: complex to calling is tricky on the client side. So when you are performing some complex tasks, then it will be tricky because you have to do some heavy lifting or some heavy computation to the AI agent. harder to hide sensitive logic. So it is very hard. It's just like having to, like, you are building a fintech application now and you are performing the subtraction and addition of user balance on the client side. That is very tricky, and that is allowing sensitive information or sensitive data on the client side, which is not good for any business. It can be manipulated at any given point in time. So that's pretty much on it. And limited backend control. You can't control everything because what you are using, you're on the client side basically, so you are basically doing the front end. It's just like front end, so you can't have control over everything. But when it comes to Genkit, that now again, Genkit, that is AI framework for building full stack application. So the pros entails full type safety across client plus backend. So as you are building a client, you are building a backend as well. And that's what we have here. As we build the backend here, as you can see, they are both in separate applications. So this is backend, and this is our front end for this particular backend solution as well. We can see it on the home page now. This is the front end solution. This is where we are able to connect it. Let me open the service so you can see the content service. This is where we're able to connect it. It's just like how we normally integrate API. So you can see that the API, the user does not really have any information about the API on the client side. Everything is from the backend. We are just passing information that is necessary to the front end, and that's what Genkit that is all about. So all the implementation is in our backend, just the presentation that we have on our front end, and that's pretty much about it. So now powerful tool, memory and agent. So control cost, prompt and safety sensitive data. So we can control cost with Genkit, that also the prompt as well, and some other sensitive data. Scales beautifully in production. So with Genkit, that we can scale in production, but mind you, in Firebase AI logic, scalability in production is not assured, or it is just a wish, let me put it that way. So some of the cons is it requires backend flow. So if you are not familiar with backend, you might find it hard or complex to get started, but trust me, it's not actually very hard to get started with. You can just head over to the documentation. If I head over to Genkit, that now you can see, let me switch to that and get started. Everything that you actually need is actually very fast, and since we are using the same language, we are not using TypeScript, Go and the likes, it is very easy to understand as well. So every flow that you need is already in the documentation as well, and you can check my previous video to understand the basic concept of it. So that's that. And the next point is one more moving part to manage. So what does actually means is that you are the one actually handling everything. So everything depends on you, unlike Firebase AI logic that you have limited backend control. With Genkit, that you have the control, you have the full control of everything that you are doing, the cost management, the session management, the caching, and also memory and all the sensitive data. Basically, you have control over everything. So it depends on how well you manage it, that it will depend on how your project scale in production. So that's pretty much it. So AI Firebase AI logic feels like magic for prototype, as I mentioned repeatedly. It's prototype, and Genkit feel like senior backend engineer who never sleep. So pretty much you can see the difference. One is just for prototype, while one is for production development. So the next thing now is pricing and performance. In every project that we are building, one of the key factors is pricing, because a founder can go bankrupt overnight if the cost of services that is integrated into the application is not well managed. So when it comes to AI agent, because AI do multiple things, it can exhaust the token overnight or at any given time if it's not properly managed. So when it comes to pricing and performance now, so both build the same way on underlying Gemini model, because they both use Gemini model, and we know that in Gemini we have the Flash and we have the Pro. So Flash obviously is the cheapest, and Pro is smarter but more expensive. So when it comes to Firebase AI logic now, it's free SDK, of course, purely Gemini usage. So on Firebase now, if you go to Firebase, we have two plans. I can't remember the first name, but I think Spark or whatever, then which is free, and the Blaze plan, so where you pay as you go basically for any other Firebase services that you have. So that's then great for low traffic app and prototype. Again, you can see low traffic app, that is your app is probably you are doing a research and you have a group of people, probably you guys are just building for an hackathon, or you're just building for a research project in your school or stuff like that. Then you can use Firebase AI Logic because of the group of people, let's say 10, 15, 20 people that are using this stuff for a particular solution and stuff like that. So lower latency for simple calls direct from device. So it has low latency, refresh rate and stuff like that. So that is it. So for simple calls, so no backend hosting costs. So there's no backend hosting costs. Everything is from Firebase majorly, so you don't have to worry about cost for this. And when it comes to Genkit, that now same Gemini cost plus tiny cloud functions hosting, because now Genkit that you have to host the function because it's a backend solution and it has to be hosted somewhere. Either you use, if you go to the documentation, if you go to the hosting, where is it? Okay, deployment, we have Firebase. I think they just added Firebase. Actually, Firebase was not added before. I think this is actually of recent. Yeah. So we now have Firebase. That's awesome. We have Cloud Run from Google Cloud Console, Azure Function, AWS Lambda, any other platform, and client app integration majorly. So I believe Firebase should be easy to use. I've not tried it. This is my first time seeing it actually. But regardless, these are all the deployments, and they have charges majorly depending on how we use it. So that's tiny cloud function hosting. So usually pennies per month for backend. For the cloud function is usually pennies, but depends on how you actually use it as well. So it's better for caching and cost optimization on backend. So with Genkit, you can proper minimize the cost effectiveness of how the AI agents are being triggered. So also better caching in a way that data are saved without needing to fetch them all over again, and also latency upfront, lower total for agents as well. So that's pretty much it. So when it comes to Firebase AI Logic, now less than 5 token score, Firebase win on cost and speed. If you're if your token is less than 5, your call to the AI agent is less than 5, then go for Firebase AI Logic. There's no need to over-engineer the application for with Genkit that. But if you are using multiple step agents, Genkit save money fast. If you are using multiple AI agents, you are using Gemini, Nano Banana, Vertex, what's the other one? Anthropic and ChatGPT and stuff, and many others, then you have to go with Genkit that. So simple core, it's Firebase and multi step agent, Genkit that. So the next point now is same feature to approach. So majorly, as I mentioned earlier, they are both using the same AI agent, which is Gemini, of course. And although you can use other solution as well with Genkit, that now you have access to. Let me quickly show you. You have access to OpenAI, Anthropic. Yeah, they just added these ones. I think there's some recent updates over the past few days or weeks, because if you go through this my video, if you check when I was going through the documentation, you won't see this XAI. I think this from Grok. Yeah, Grok. It was not there, but it was just added. Then DeepSeek, Olama as well. So I think this tier I just added as well. There's some new updates here, so you can easily check the update out as well. So these are the different AI model or AI agents that you can play around with as well. So for Firebase AI Logic, now this is client side, and just like how we integrated it inside this code base now, which is this. Let me go to this. You can see the Firebase AI, Google AI, then generative model. We specify the model, then we specify the AI agent that we want to use, then generation config. So we specify the max token. There's still a lot of configuration that you can do here. You will get to know more about that when I go through a deep dive course about AI engineering later in the course of this channel. Yeah, so that's pretty much on Firebase AI logic. So you just declare the instance and the model and you are good to go. But for Genkit, that now this is a full stack tool. So you have to define the AI, also give it a name where you can test, just like what we have here. If you go to the backend now, you can see defining a flow, different measure as well, and also the output, the input, and everything that we are submitting to the AI model. You can see the difference majorly. So screenshots, clean description out in 2 seconds, 0 backend. This one does not need any backend solution. It just works out of the hood just for prototype. But for Genkit, that's now Flutter, backend loads user data, Gemini give personalized advice, 0 data exposed. So from Flutter client to backend flow to Firestore tools to Gemini model to response. So you can see all the process, but we are able to like compress the cost as along with all this process as well. So both demos plus startup repo link will be in this video. I mean this particular GitHub link as well. So the next point now, by the way, before I move to this next point, I created a feedback form for this channel. So if you love for this channel to actually grow, I created a feedback form. So it will take less than 2 minutes. The link will be in the description. I would love to actually hear your feedback about how to grow this channel and some courses or some topics you'd like me to actually dive into and stuff like that. So make sure you check it out. The link will be in the description or in the comment section of this video. Make sure to fill it out, and I would love to have you fill it. Thank you. All right, so the next thing now is basically my decision framework. So use this every time majorly. So in the features is basically these are just some questions to ask yourself when you are choosing which one to use, because we all can't, for not all projects requires Genkit that, and not all projects require Firebase AI logic. So you have to decide when you are scaffolding the features of that particular project. So first question is the feature simple and mostly client side? So if the feature is simple, it's just like the project we built in this project. Like, let me show you, it's in my readme file. Let me see if I can okay, yeah, sorry, this might take a while. I just want to show the screenshots basically. Yeah, this is the project. So you can see that yeah, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. All right, so it's just like a content generator. You type in a topic, a keyword, then it generates simple as ABC. So if the feature is simple and mostly client side, then you don't need Genkit. You can just go for Firebase AI logic. The next question is, do you need tools like memory to add logic? If you need a lot of tools and memory to add logic, then you need Genkit. That, are you okay with a tiny backend service? If you're okay with that, go for Genkit. That, do you need to ship tomorrow? Like if you actually need to ship as instant, probably you are asked to present something, you want to submit a project for hackathon. Again, I mentioned, just go for Firebase. You can start with it, you can migrate later to Genkit that along the line. So that's pretty much it. The number 5 question is going to production with real user and cost. If you are going to production with real user and cost, then Genkit that, or you can think about both for prototype, I mean for MVP release for Firebase AI logic, and as you grow you can switch to Genkit that. So another pro tip here is most team in 2026 use both. I mean for projects, actually personally I've not used it in any production project, but I'll play around it and I've used it on some projects, not live projects, but project that I just feel like breathing. So I've just put, yeah, so Firebase AI logic for lightweight client features, plus Genkit that for anything that touches data or needs agents majorly. So that's, you can see the comparison straight up. So that's it. And the last but not the least, my recommendation is solo dev or small team start with Firebase AI Logic, of course, and if you are bidding for production or scaling, you can just go straight to Genkit that. So this helps you add AI fast shipping. This learn the pattern fast first. You can always add, again, as I said, you can actually migrate from Firebase AI Logic to Genkit that as you scale. So if you quickly want to build a prototype or MVP release, then you can start with Firebase AI Logic. Then as time goes on, or as you increase or scale, then you can just move to Genkit that. So Genkit that has more security, cost control, agent, and scalability built in from day one. So that's pretty much it. So my strongest recommendation is learn both, and they are pretty straightforward and simple to learn. As I mentioned over and over, you can see the Genkit that how it is very easy to actually get started with, since we are even writing that. So learn both. They are not competitors. Again, they are not competitors. They are different purposes. So they are two perfect tools for different job. The real winner are the dev who know when to use any or each of these tools. So that's pretty much on this video. I hope you have gained one or two on when to use Firebase AI Logic and when to use Genkit that. And if you are watching this video for the first time, you are here to watch the previous video where I actually dive into Genkit data and Firebase AI Logic, you can just go through my channel so you can learn what I had to share on Genkit data and also Firebase AI Logic simple implementation and setup, and that will be it for now. So again, the feedback form link is in the description of this video or in the comment section. Make sure you actually check it. Help this channel grow by filling that form, and I can't wait to see you in another video. Bye for now.